Service learning is a teaching method that connects community service projects to the classroom curriculum. This form of learning emphasizes critical thinking and personal reflection while encouraging a heightened sense of community, civic engagement, and personal responsibility.
The three types of service are direct service, indirect service, and advocacy. Direct service takes place when the volunteers come into contact with the recipients of the service. For example, when volunteers serve meals at the soup kitchen. Indirect service is when volunteers create, collect, or assemble donations and ship them to the recipients. Volunteers do not come into contact with the recipients in this type of service. For example, when volunteers assemble care kits and send them to troops overseas. Advocacy takes place when a volunteer lends their voice to promote or raise awareness on a certain cause or issue. For example, when writing a persuasive article about animal welfare and sending it to the newspaper.
Hello there, my name is Nicole Kilgore, and for the past 2 years I've been serving as an AmeriCorps Vista, partnering with the League Michigan and hosted at the Eastern Upper Peninsula Intermediate School District in order to support teachers in their service learning, and philanthropy efforts. Throughout this position, I've worked with a number of teachers and schools on their service learning projects. And while I've personally experienced the benefits of service learning to teachers, students, and communities, I still encounter a number of teachers who are tentative about including service learning efforts into their classroom. Therefore, I've decided to conduct an experiment to test the benefits of service learning. The experiment that I have conducted proposed to answer 2 questions. Question 1. Does service learning lead to an increase in academic achievement? Question 2. Does service learning lead to an increase of student interest of the information being taught? Both questions would be answered through the same experiment. The experiment included 2 5th grade classrooms. One of the classrooms were from Washington Elementary School in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, and the other classroom being from Pickford Elementary School in Pickford, Michigan. Each class learned about the trash system, landfills, and recycling. Following the exposure to this information, as well as issues around trash and recycling, the students wrote a persuasive essay arguing whether or not we should recycle. The class from Washington Elementary School included a service learning project in this unit, while the classroom from Pickford Elementary School did not.
The 8 quality standards of service learning are meaningful service, youth voice, link to curriculum, partnerships, reflection, diversity, progress monitoring, and duration intensity.
The control group, or traditional learning class, included 5 of the 8 quality standards of service learning that outline a traditional learning class. The control groups include links to curriculum. The links to curriculum in this unit included ELA standards such as utilizing informational text and integrating knowledge and ideas in science through evaluating claims, arguments, and data, as well as exploring the effects that humans have on the natural world. Reflection. Students participated in the reflection throughout this unit by holding classroom discussions, as well as filling out a survey following the unit. Diversity. Diversity was explored in this unit through learning about opposing arguments about recycling. Progress monitoring. Progress monitoring was included by collecting and analyzing the pre- and post-test as well as essay scores, duration, and intensity. This unit took place over a period of 2 weeks and included various forms of information and learning. The experimental group added the following 3 of 8 quality standards of learning. Meaningful service. Students collected recyclable items and created art pieces out of them. Later, they invited the other 5th grade class to visit and explore their creations. This was a form of advocacy, as well as indirect service. Advocacy, because students shared their project and what they learned with another class. Indirect service, because it raised awareness in the students who participated to make better choices in the future regarding their actions towards the environment. Youth voice was included through having students lend their creativity to assemble their awareness piece with the recyclable items. Partnerships. The first partnerships was with the EUP-ISD AmeriCorps Vista, who implemented a reverse garden activity. The reverse garden is where the trash items are buried, and then after a period of time are dug up so that students can see firsthand what happens to their trash. Students charted hypotheses and dug up the buried items. They charted their conclusions. The second partnership included the service learning class at Sioux Area High School. Students from the service learning class visited the 5th grade class in order to do a watershed activity that demonstrated how different pollutants end up in our bodies of water. The third partnership occurred when a representative from the recycling center visited the class and presented to the students about the center and recycling.
The traditional learning class scored an average of 53% on the pretest, and the service learning class scored an average of 51%. On the post-test, the traditional learning class scored an average of 65%, while the service learning class scored an average of 77%. 74% of students in the traditional learning class showed improvement, compared to 95% of the students in the service learning class. Of the students who showed improvement, the students in the traditional learning class improved by 12%, while the students in the service learning class improved by twice the amount, at 24%.
The students' final persuasive essays were graded by two separate adult volunteers. They referred to a 4-point persuasive writing rubric to determine grades. The averages of these scores were documented as following. The traditional learning class, on average, scored a 2.5 on their persuasive writing essay. The service learning class, on average, scored a 3.5 on their persuasive writing essay.
In conclusion, the service learning class scored higher in all measurements observed with the exception of the pretest. This proves that service learning increases academic scores as well as interest in the subject material being taught.